What's going on, everybody? Patrick here from Obscure Reference, and today I'm bringing a special little movie review. Today I'll be talking about the new movie, The Fall Guy, that just came out this last weekend. If you're watching this as it drops, if you're watching this years in the future, hello, future. I hope that climate change hasn't taken us yet. So yeah, I'm here to talk about The Fall Guy. It just came out as a recording, and it's loosely based on a 1980s TV show that I didn't know existed. So I might be looking more into that moving forward. But the movie stars Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Hannah Waddingham are like the big names in this. Winston Duke is also in here as Ryan Gosling's buddy. It's directed by David Leitch, and if that name sounds familiar to you, it's because he's worked on the John Wick movies quite extensively. He's uncredited for directing the first one, but he's also done Atomic Blonde and Deadpool 2 and then Hobbs and Shaw for the Fast and Furious franchise. So he's got some big movies under his belt. He also did Bullet Train a couple of years ago. That was 2 years ago? I can't believe that. Anyway, the movie follows Ryan Gosling as he dips his toe back into the stunt acting career field and tries to win back the heart of a former lover, Emily Blunt, who's directing a big sci-fi epic that's going to be big at the box office, while also trying to uncover a series of weird happenings with the actor that he does stunts for, aka Aaron Taylor Johnson. I'm just gonna do spoiler-free thoughts right now. You don't have to worry about clicking off if you're interested in seeing this and don't want to be spoiled on this. So I'm just gonna be loosely just going over what I liked and what I didn't like about this movie, just in case you're on the fence about this movie. And if you are, you shouldn't be. Go see this movie. That's my top level thought. This movie is so much fun. It's not gonna, win any awards. It might get a nod at the Oscars because it does shine a light on an industry that doesn't get a lot of attention unless something tragic happens. But it shines a light on a part of the industry that doesn't get a lot of attention in stunt acting. I think, and people have asked for best stunt performances in the Oscars, I believe. So people are aware of it, but they still don't get nearly as enough attention as I think a lot of people think they deserve. And I think this will be a good movie for kind of bringing more light, shining more light onto that. But it's a really fun movie. It's a lot of really good chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. Uh, you can tell, the relationship definitely feels strained by the time we're going into like the meat of the first act, and them trying to him trying to win her back over is really cute and charming, and they have really good chemistry. I also think the writing is super quippy, super quick. It's not it doesn't beat you over the head with movie references, but there are movie references. This really is a movie for movie people. I think they just in trying to explain what a stunt actor does, they show clips from like Atomic Blonde, which is another David Leitch feature, I believe. Let me double check that. Yes. And they just showcase different action set pieces from other pretty iconic Universal movies like Fast Five. Shout out. Yes, it was Fast Five. It was the train sequence when they're stealing that car. I could go on, but they even throw in like quotes from like Last of the Mohicans, Fast and Furious. There's plenty for movie lovers to like chomp into, but you really don't need to know any of that to really enjoy this movie. But it's just fun, quick. Yeah, honestly, Wikipedia has it listed as 126 minutes. I didn't feel that. This movie goes at a quick enough clip where I never stopped to look at my watch. I never stopped to question how much more time do we have left in this motion picture. I never once wondered that. I think this movie does a good job of keeping your attention. It does a good job of making you laugh, making you feel things. There's one scene in particular that I never cried in this movie, but there was a moment towards the end of this movie where characters are having a good heart to heart. I'm like, this is good stuff. Um, and yeah, honestly, it's a good movie. It's not going to win any awards. I think I already mentioned that. The writing itself is pretty standard. I think the story itself is pretty standard. I don't think it's reinventing the wheel here. I think it does tread dangerous waters where you just want Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt to get back together. And there are forces that threaten to get in between them and keep that from happening. And there are other movies where, like different rom-coms, where stuff will happen and it'll be like, well, if you just turned around, she'd better be right there. You can have a conversation. You can get back together. And this movie could be over 40 minutes in instead of 2 hours later. You know what I mean? But this movie doesn't. It toes that line pretty well. It never feels like, oh, we're forcefully prolonging how long they're apart. So like they don't get to connect until the end of the movie. They don't necessarily do that in this movie, and I got to give them props for that. I think the writing itself, it's fine. Like I said, it's pretty standard. I think the jokes, like I said, it's quippy. This movie made me laugh a lot. There's a lot of just absurd comedic bits that happen throughout this movie. There's one in particular. Actually, there are a couple that I really loved. I won't get into it. One involves a dog. That's all I'll say. Um, but it's really, and the story does take a couple of interesting turns towards the end of the movie as you start unraveling all the dangling threads that were hung in the beginning of the movie. And there's some neat twists. I think it's not a boring movie by any stretch of the imagination. The story's not so standard that you're bored. You know where, well, I mean, you kind of can predict where things are going, but it does it in a way where you're never bored, even if you know exactly where the story's going. Like, you might know that Ryan Gosling has to do um, this cannonball. I'm sorry, cannonball, a cannon roll, which is where a car does like a bunch of flips, and you're never gonna question if he's gonna be okay because that's it. That's not the kind of movie this is. This isn't a gritty like people are dying left and right. There's so many twists. No, it's pretty by the books, paint by number. But it does it in a way that's supremely entertaining, and you'll never be bored. Uh, yeah, I think this movie has a really killer soundtrack. I think there are a lot of really good needle drop moments where there's just some music. There's just there's a karaoke scene where Emily Blunt starts singing a song by Phil Collins while Ryan Gosling is off doing his stuntman thing, and it's a lot of it's on the nose, I won't lie, but it still sets the scene for like a really cool action sequence that's happening at the same time. Um, so yeah, and while on the subject, like I said, I think Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling, I think their chemistry is the main selling point of this movie. I think the side characters, the antagonists, everything else feels pretty secondary. As much as I like Aaron Taylor Johnson, I actually do think he did a good job as his character, and Winston Duke does a good job as well. Um, and Hannah Waddingham, I think I'm saying her name right. I've not really seen her in much else, I don't think, but she was really good in this movie. She plays that piece of shit manager that you're just like, oh, she's just got such a punchable face. She knocks it out of the park with that. Um, but like I said, I think Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt are like the main draw for this movie. I would say they were my favorite part about this movie. They have really good chemistry, really good banter. The action set pieces were a lot of fun. It's very clear that David Leitch has worked as a stuntman. It's very clear in any of his movies. You don't even need to watch this to see that. Like, just look at his work in the John Wick movies or Atomic Blonde. I think his knowledge and then the knowledge of other people working on this movie, I think, worked to make the stunts feel more physical, so it doesn't have that like Hollywood brush on it that you see as the final result in most movies. This one, they want you to feel like, oh, he's actually doing this shit. Like, watch out, this could really hurt if he messes this up, and it does a good job with that. I think and that's just that David Leitch magic. You know what I mean? Um, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Um, yeah, I mean, like I said, a lot of this stuff. I had such a good time with this movie. I'm like legitimately thinking about going back. That's not a joke. It's just so charming and fun. I've been thinking about it ever since I saw it. Quite honestly, I think I saw it Saturday, and like every day, it's been like I could be seeing the Fall Guy again. Like I know we got Dune Part Two, and I've seen that at least twice now. But part of me is like, but you could see the Fall Guy again. I mean, and I could. You know, I'm rambling. I digress. I'm not gonna say this movie's perfect. It's not. I think something that stood out to me, and it could be a nitpick, and this is a mild spoiler, is the when Ryan Gosling first returns to the set after being out of the stunt game for a little while, and I won't get into why. Um, and he does immediately. He's brought onto set, and he's like, "Hey, I need you to do a stunt." He's like, "Cool," and he does it without any practice, without any rehearsal. I don't know truly what the stunt field looks like, but this scene involved in advanced choreography. They want to do this in one shot, and it's like, are we really bringing this new guy onto the set to do these stunts when he doesn't know the choreography? That took me out a little bit. There's a little bit of immersion breaking there, and there are a couple of instances with that line of thinking specifically that kind of took me out of it. Um, but very quickly, this movie shows its hand, and it's like, well, you're not supposed to take this too seriously. And I think once you get into that stage, I think you're gonna have a lot of fun with this movie. If you're not, if you're like John, you need like a super advanced story with like super deep philosophy. I'm exaggerating, of course. This movie isn't gonna make you think. This is just I'm not gonna say turn your brain off because there's a lot of like quick references, a lot of stuff you'll miss if you're not paying attention. Um, but it's not a thinking man's movie. This is a summer blockbuster that you'll have fun with, and you'll go home and say, "Hey, that Ryan Gosling movie with Emily Blunt, that was pretty fun. That was funny." Um, this isn't gonna, like I said, win any awards. Probably the fifth time I said but I believe it. So yeah, all in all, I do think this movie is worth your time. Like I said, it's a little over 2 hours, but I didn't feel it at all. Um, it's a really good time. I think the music's great. The action is it feels real. It feels, I don't want to say visceral, but it kind of toes the line of being visceral, like in some of David Leitch's other movies. But it never gets too violent, never gets too physical. Um, there's a lot of really good stunts in this. I don't know how many of them, if any, Ryan himself did. I'd be curious to look into that and see that. But yeah, I think this is a lot of fun. I think if you want to take your kids to it, if they're old enough to see a dead body in a bathtub filled with ice cubes, then yeah, sure, go for it. Take them. That's probably as bad as it gets. Spoilers. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this is a good movie worth checking out. I think if I had to give it a score out of 10, I'd probably say, oh man, I didn't even consider this part. Mm, I'm somewhere in between like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Like I really did enjoy this movie. This is one I might go back and see again. Like I'm dead serious. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes comes out this week, and instead of that, I might just see this again. Uh, and who knows? Maybe that comment won't age well. Maybe King of the Planet of the Apes won't be that good. Sorry. Um, but yeah, go see this movie. It's a lot of fun. I laughed my ass off, quite honestly. There's a guy behind me. He was laughing really hard at some of the jokes. Just made this viewing experience so much better. I never checked my time during it. The movie moves, the pacing is just, I'm not going to say it's perfect, but man, it's good. And there's some jokes that just, I'm still thinking about, and I'm still laughing myself like that. They really did that in this movie. So yeah, go check this movie out. They have plans for a second one. I kind of want to see it. So go support this movie. David Leitch, Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt. Good job. Everyone involved in working this movie, the stunt people. Good job. Uh, yeah, I don't got anything else. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed what you just witnessed, be sure to leave a like on the video. Leave a comment down below. What is your favorite Ryan Gosling movie and why is it this one? If you like more movie reviews, subscribe to the channel. We got plenty of them around. I think we're going to take a look at Kingdom of Planet of the Apes this upcoming week, depending on as of recording this. We'll take a look at that. We'll see. I won't put a date on that. But we also play games on Mondays and Fridays for the time being. Thursday we'll move back to Thursdays eventually. But if you subscribe and you hit that bell, you'll be made aware of when we go live and when we upload new movie reviews and trailer reactions. And also follow us on our socials. The link should be in the description below. And yeah, that's all I got for you. It's been good talking to you, and have a good day.